I hope it doesn't come across too cranky, but not here to entertain you. We're here to train you. We're here to make your life better. And I know it can feel like an uphill climb. It can just wear you out sometimes. And some days you think, whew, this is never, ever going to end. But what if we're missing the point about it? What if there's something deeper to it all than what we've been expecting? I think we see that 1 Corinthians 9:27, 2 Corinthians 10:5. I'm just going to mention them, but if you're taking notes, you may want to write that down. Where Paul says, I discipline my body and I bring it into subjection. There's your training. Or 2 Corinthians 10:5, where he says we take every thought into captivity to the obedience of Christ, and that's not easy. And while I'm not against some nice entertainment now and then, and I like the way it usually unfolds in a nice story, life doesn't work that way. You don't get the fairy tale dream and the live happily ever after. I want to see the story where they show what happened to Cinderella and the princess after they got married. And she took on all the duties of whatever a princess does. It's not as romantic as we might think it is, but the chase up to it sure is, isn't it? Life. If you get a fairy tale dream, I'm not wanting to take that away from you. You enjoy it when you get it. When you get those Camelot moments, you enjoy them. But it's not usually life. It's all a lot of training. And there's a lot of purpose here. There's a lot of passion. And if you can get figured in on what you're supposed to do, it makes life a whole lot different. So you have an option, basically. You can look at life and go, it's all stumbling stones. It's all a pain in the neck. It's not fair. It's not right. Blah, blah, blah. Whine, whine, whine. Cry, cry, cry. And if you want to do that, you can. I'm not trying to take your whining away from you. And I don't want to hear it. I'll be honest with you there. But go ahead and live that life. Or you can go, this is stepping stones. It's all training. We haven't died yet, have we? I like that. I know I've said it before. I'm going to say it again. You have survived every single thing life has thrown at you. And I know some of you well enough to know life has thrown some really, really hard stuff at you. And you're still with us. And you're stronger. And you're better if you chose to use it that way. So I want to look at the secret formula, so to speak. It's 10 parts. We'll keep it rather short. I was like, okay, I got 10 slides. Do I do 10 minutes a slide? Y'all go, no, that's 110 minutes. Don't do that. Do I do 5 minutes a slide? Well, that'd be 15 minutes. No, I don't think we'll do that. I'm going to try to keep it about 2 minutes a slide here. And then if you find an area you want to go into deeper, give me a call. We'll text, we'll email, we'll get coffee or something. So the first thing I want you to do is I want you to know God. Not just about God. I don't want you to read about him like you're reading about George Washington or Columbus or somebody, Alexander the Great. I want you to know God. So when your life starts feeling like you're juggling everything, and it does feel that way, and I'll let you in on a secret, the juggling gets a little easier down the road, but you're still juggling. I'm 67, I'm still juggling. I don't have to run the kids' schedule like we did back when they were at home, but you're always juggling something. That's the way it works. And so you're asking, is there more to life than just juggling and running a schedule and keeping up with everything and trying to get everything done? And the answer is yes, there is more to life than that. We were made to seek God, and I want to read the the Acts 17 passage. I'll just do my best to quote the Hebrews 11:6, which I know a whole bunch of you can quote that also. But I can't quote Acts 17 verbatim. I can get you close. He says, now this is the purpose. This is what I want you to see. He made from one man every nation of mankind to live on the face of the earth, having determined their appointed times and boundaries of their habitation. Now look, he made man that they would seek God, if perhaps they might grope for him and find him, though he's not far from each one of us. Now, Hebrews 11:6 says, without faith it's impossible to please him, that he who comes to God must believe that he is, and that he's a rewarder of those who diligently seek him, to quote the New King James. So we're made for a purpose. The purpose is to seek God. The purpose is to get to know God. And that's not a burden, that's a joy, that's a delight, that's the pilgrimage we're on, that's the reason we're here. And this means if you can tune into it, if you can get this from just a sermon point, academic, to engaged in the process of life, then you can start looking at all the juggling and you can start seeing how you're seeking God through those things. Now, again, I'm going to be honest with you. It's tough. I know that. This is the straight and narrowest way for you to be who find it. This is take up your cross and follow me. But if you want John 10:10 and the abundant life, you got to seek God. And He's got to be the very center of it. John 17:3 would tell us, this is verbatim, at least in the New American Standard 1995 version, this is verbatim. And this is eternal life, that they may know you. Not know about you, not have read some books or tracts or had a Bible study on you, that they may know you. Let me emphasize that one more. We're going to the next slide. Did Adam know Eve before they had their first son? Please say yes. Did Adam take his knowledge to a new level? Please say yes. What's the difference between knowing and knowing? That's what I want you to get. I want you to know God in that second intimate sense. That is eternal life. Quoting a few verses from the Bible about God is not eternal life. Knowing God is eternal life. Then you're going to have some self-discipline. This is not a popular subject, but you have to have the self-discipline because most of your obstacles are the ones that are inside of you. Now, okay, to be fair, there's some obstacles out there that you didn't set up, but the toughest walls to overcome are the ones you set up, not the ones that somebody else set up. And we do it. And we have to learn to be honest. This is my issue. This is my thing. This is my problem. And I have the root of it. And I can start changing things if I will take my responsibility for it and see it as an opportunity. And it is an opportunity. What if you had no option? What if there was some power out there that said you have no control of your life? I control everything. You get to make no choices. That doesn't sound good to me. How about you? But at the same time, when you go, hey, you have responsibility, and the reason some things in your life are going wrong is because you're doing it wrong. Well, I don't want to hear that one either. But I don't want to hear that I have no freedom either. I just got to say, hey, this is my self-discipline. This is my choice. This is my life. As Dr. Phil would say, you set it up. So we're going to be spiritual athletes. We're going to train. We're going to keep training. We're going to keep working. We're going to live better. We're going to live higher. We're going to live more joyful life with that deeper sense of peace. Even though the storm around us rages, we're going to keep choosing what's best, not easiest. I like the way Zig Ziglar used to say it. He says you got to learn to say no to the good so you can say yes to the best. Now, you get to decide what your best is. But you get to say, yeah, I want number 10 up here. Means I got to say no to everything in between here and number 10. Now, we'll let you know one other secret. If you get the fruit at the top of the tree, then once you get to the top of the tree, all the fruit beneath you is still available. Problem is, a lot of folks just settle for the low-hanging fruit and they never get to the top of the tree. 1 Timothy 4, verse 7 and 8. On the other hand, discipline yourself for the purpose of godliness. Bodily discipline is only of little profit, but godliness is profitable for all things, since it holds the promise for the present, and get this part, also for the life to come. There's where you want to make that connection. It's all training for the life to come. Mental discipline. Okay, you got an overlap here, but we're going to make them two different things. Your mind can spiral out of control, and all of us have done it. If I don't pass this test, my life is over. I'll never get this and I'll never get that and I'll never end up married. I'll probably have to live under a bridge and beg money on the corner holding up that little sign, we'll work for food. No, you don't pass the test, you're going to get an F and a lecture at worst and have to go back and take the course again. But isn't it funny how our mind just really runs out there into no man's land and dreams up all kinds of crazy stuff? Look, it happens. Don't condemn yourself. Just go, look, I'm human. I'm pushing a little too far. Let's pause the thoughts and let's see what's really going on. So I know somebody who's going to take a driver's test exam coming up in not too many days. Now, I don't know what's running through someone's head, but if y'all remember doing it, what if I fail? I'll never drive. No, no, that's crazy thoughts. How many of you know somebody that didn't pass the test the first time? They didn't pass it the second time. They didn't get it the third time. Maybe they got it the fourth time or the fifth time. How many of you know somebody that got in the car, the officer sits down and says, okay, I need you to drive here, and let me see how you drive. And they go straight through a stop sign and never slow down. I know two of them. One of them's in the auditorium. And they said, I'm never, ever, 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 ever going to drive. Pause the thoughts and go, look, what's really realistic here? There's some negative stuff that could happen, but it's usually not as extreme and crazy as we tend. So mental discipline, it's not punishment. It's really taking some of the stress off of us and helping us to relax a little bit. You just rebuke Satan, Matthew 4:10. That's where he said, he said, depart from me, Satan. That's in the wilderness. When you get to Matthew 16:23, that's when he says, get thee behind me, Satan. And in Jude 9, was that Michael or Gabriel? One of the archangels, who said to the devil, the Lord rebuke you. So you get those negative thoughts and Satan, the little cartoon character sitting on your shoulder saying all kinds of negative stuff to you. Just say, get out of here. I don't need you in my life. Take control. Now, it's tough. It's mental discipline. But I think it's absolutely worth the effort. Then you can set your mind on heaven. That's Colossians 3:1 and 2. Set your mind on things above, not on things on the earth. And I really like Romans 12:2, where he says, be transformed by the renewing of your mind. Learn to think different. Now, don't be irresponsible. Don't be negligent. But at the same time, don't let the negatives overwhelm you. I want you to learn to imitate Christ. This is part of our training. Life can leave us asking, why me? Why am I going through this? What did I ever do wrong? You didn't do anything wrong. Maybe in some cases, but in most cases the answer is you didn't do anything wrong. This is the way life works. I'm sorry. That's almost a heartless answer, isn't it? But this is how it works. We get old. So many, many years ago, back in 1978, July 14th, I stood at the altar, as we kind of call it, saw the bride coming down. And, you're only thinking of the good stuff then, right? About, we're going to have a little house and a picket fence and 2 cars and a barbecue grill or whatever you're thinking. And you don't think, we're going to get old. And our parents who are paying for this wedding are going to get old. And our kids are going to drive us nuts. Now, all of those things, could make you want to pull your hair out, but it was never punishment. We didn't do anything wrong. That's life. We get old, we fall apart, things happen, and it's not really a place to go, why me? It's just, okay, here I am in this case, how can I imitate Christ? Is this an obstacle or is it training? I said I'll carry my cross. Let's carry it. I said I'll walk through the footsteps of Jesus. I'm glad I'm dealing with the stuff I'm dealing with and not a bunch of Pharisees who are trying to nail me to a tree and beat me half to death and put a crown of thorns upon my head. I'll take my plight in life over what I saw in Christ. Now, if you think you're tough enough to actually go through the physical torture, high five. Tell me your strategy. But no. This is opportunity to train and finesse and polish some of the spiritual principles we talk about all the time. Romans 8:28, he says, if God's for you, who can be against you? I need to go to this verse because verse 31 I want to read. Romans 8:28. And we know God causes all things to work together for good for those who love the Lord, to those who call according to his purpose. And then, what shall we say to these things? If God is for us, who can be against us? And what we have to learn to see is that God is for us And he's not doing things to us. He's doing it for us. It's just kind of hard to get that perspective. But now we can. So are the trials worthless? Absolutely not. We're a big block of marble. God's the sculptor, and he's taken away what needs to be taken away so we can be a beautiful spiritual work of art. Problem is, I'm standing there going, no, don't chip that part off. No, not that part. No, not that part. And God goes, hush. I'm the artist here. Let me work my work and make you beautiful in the end. So Jesus suffered too. He learned obedience through the things he suffered. I think we kind of miss that part sometimes. So do you really want to walk in his footsteps? I hope your heart's saying yes. But understand at the same time, it's going to be tough. It is going to be tough. Number 5, eternal purpose. Keep your eye on eternity because your purpose isn't here. Now, I hope you have a lot of good time and good memories here. I hope you leave us a lot of good stories to tell at your funeral here when that time comes. But your purpose, your completion is not here. You're here for a whole different reason. Matthew 6:19, he says, lay up treasures in heaven. And he warns us where our heart is, there our treasure will be also. So I like the sandcastle analogy. Let's overblow it a little bit. So you go down to the beach, you rent you a front end hauler, because we're going to make a big sandcastle. And we go down to the beach and we make this booger 2 stories high. We hire a crew. We do it artistic. I mean, magazines and people in the news crew coming out to take pictures to look at our work of art. All right, you go for it. And if you do that, let me know. I want to come take pictures too. But what's going to happen when the tide rolls in? It's gone. Alexander the Great conquered the world, supposedly. Gone. Pharaohs had power and money we can't imagine. Gone. They did try to take it with them, put them in the grave with them. All they got was robbed. You build whatever you want to build. It'll be gone. It'll be gone way quicker than you realize. Let me put it this way. Where's your parents' estate? Your granddad. My granddad built a business. Both my granddads built a business. All I got's words. I got no physical evidence of the business they built. You know how fast your kids are going to go through your estate? It's so fast you can't even think of it. I mean, it's going to be like, it's gone. Wish you'd left more. Sorry, it's all sandcastle. That's the way it works. That's why we set our mind on heaven, on things above, not on things on the earth. Now, I want you to enjoy your trip here. I don't want to be a total downer, but understand this is just a pilgrimage. I'm just a passing through. Everything I got's going to be gone. I'm leaving it to somebody. And frankly, when I'm dead, I probably won't care who I leave it to. If you get your perspective right, it will transform your life. Unfortunately, it's a choice. Now, you might have to have a talk with yourself to get that right in your head. But it's a choice. You make your choice and let other people make theirs. Keep focused on the true riches. And I want you to start with those small little bitty things because true riches, you know, the old song says, love makes the world go round. And you know, it's that. How many of you want to go home? You walk in the door and there's family members there that roll their eyes and go, oh, great, it's home. I mean, you want to walk in the door and their eyes light up. You remember when your grandkids, some of you still got this, grandkids are down there around 3, and they walk in the door and they can't wait to see you. They're running at you with open arms. You know, they're like whatever they're calling you. And it's a wonderful, delightful moment. Enjoy that for all you can. Those are the small things I'm talking about. That's a lot of your true riches. It's got nothing to do with money, cars, toys, and stuff like that. It's relationships. Colossians 3:23. Whatever you do, do it as for the Lord. Let me clarify real quick. That was written to slaves who were doing what slaves do. And slaves did a lot of nasty jobs. And he said, I want you to take that slop jar out like you're carrying out for the Lord. I want you to do that laundry like you're doing it for the Lord. I want you to rake out that stall like you're doing it for the Lord. I want you to bring in the firewood like you're doing it for the Lord. Luke 16:11, that's where he talks about the true treasures. I about forgot what the verse was. He said, if you're not faithful with the treasures here on earth, Who's going to give you the true riches? Now, you need to take that verse home with you and sit on it for about half an hour. Because this life we're enjoying with our family and friends, that I hope you're having a wonderful time with, and I hope it just fills your heart with joy and all that stuff. And as great as it is, that's not the true riches. So those of you who got to go to the wedding yesterday, and that was a beautiful wedding, and I got to sit in front of Lily. Lily's grandma's here. And when the preacher said, "Alex, you may kiss the bride," I heard the most delightful giggling behind me. Just made my heart, I'm like, that was worth the whole trip right there. And I think she said, "I've been waiting for this." She had a little, and I'm like, oh, that's wonderful. Now, I think Marcia and all of us who got to hear that, because Marcia's grandma, ought to just write that down in a journal and laugh about it and enjoy it for as long as we can. But what I'm trying to say is that's not the true riches. The true riches are even more awesome and indescribable than that. And so Christ says, if you can't be trusted with what we got on this side, I'm not giving you the real stuff on the other side. Keep your eye on the true riches. Keep that focus. It's all training. We're spiritual athletes. Number 7, serve others. People go, does my life really matter? Yeah, it really matters. But we're in a global community of 8 billion people. I'm like, I don't matter among 8 billion people, and I don't matter among 8 billion people. I promise you that. You know, Matthew 20:25. I got to turn there because actually I forgot what that one says. We're going to serve other people. I know we're going that direction. Jesus called them to himself and said, "You know that the rulers of the Gentiles lord it over them, and their great men exercise authority over them. It is not that way among you. Whoever wishes to become great among you shall be your servant. Whoever wishes to be first shall be your slave." It says, just as the Son of Man did not come to be served, but to serve and give his life a ransom for many. That's what we do. And again, I want you to go to little bitty. I want you to think as small as you can think, just simple acts of kindness. So when Sharon sits down in her recliner and she puts her blanket over her, which I'm not supposed to touch. No, that's a joke. And she says, "Oh, while you're up, would you get my water for me?" Simple act of kindness. "Oh, while you're up, would you bring my iPad to me?" Simple act of kindness. Now, probably today, since I've used it as a sermon illustration, if she says to me, "Would you get," I'm just going to pause a minute and go, "Ah," because that would not be nice, would it? What I'm trying to say is when we serve, you don't have to be doing these big, fantastic things. It's just the little things that say, "I'm so glad you're in my life." And I think anybody can serve in a little bitty way if you will think small. And then when you get to big opportunities, you'll be ready. So don't think global. Global has messed us up. I like my global internet and all that stuff, don't get me wrong, but it's made us think too big. And most people have no impact at that level whatsoever. I want you to shine in a dark world. Remember being in a dark cave? Now, I did this Devil's Den State Park. Some people did it in Carlsbad Cavern Caves or what have you. And they turn off all the lights and you can't see your hand in front of your face. And then somebody's got the watch face that glows. Remember those? They don't even make them now, do they? And they just stood out like a star. I just want you to be the light. Let your light shine before men. They see your good works, glorify your Father in heaven. And you can be a light while needing light. You can give help while needing help. So again, think small, think little bitty, just think ordinary, think kindness. Number 9, unity. We talked about this in our first sermon, so we'll hit this one pretty quick. Loneliness is unhealthy. I heard a speaker say just this week that being lonely, whatever that is as unhealthy as smoking a pack of cigarettes a day. I'm like, that's interesting. I wonder how they figured that one out, but that's what they said. John 17:20-21 is our unity verse. Christ prayed that we'd all be one as he and the Father are one. Hebrews 10:24, consider one another in order to stir up love and good works, not forsaking the assembling of ourselves together, So we're a spiritual group. We're climbing a spiritual mountain. We need to be roped up to each other. Because now and then one of us is going to slip. Now and then the ice beneath our feet is going to break through. And we're going to need some help. So we choose to lift others up. We simply keep sowing the seeds of unity. Little bitty seeds. But we sow enough of them, we get a pretty good harvest. The last one. We want to hear well done. Isn't that it? This is what I'm looking to hear. Well done, thou good and faithful servant. Now, I want to hear it sometimes along the way, but I really want to hear it when I step across the finish line. And I know a lot of times we do a lot of things and it feels like nobody ever hears or appreciates us. Be sure to be one of those people that show appreciation. Common hunger among people is to be seen, heard, and celebrated. Matthew 5:25-21, that's where he said to his servant, well done, thou good and faithful servant, enter into your master's rest. So I want you to hear it ahead of time a little bit. When you do something good and somebody doesn't acknowledge you, that's okay. If they do, that's okay. But understand, just as we see heaven with the eye of faith, every time we do something good, God is pleased. Now, I'm not going to hear him audibly, I get that, but I want to know. He said, well done, thou good and faithful servant. You know, we have another passage that said that the angels rejoice when the lost are found. Have you ever seen the angels rejoice? Please don't raise a hand. I haven't either. But by the eye or the ear of faith, I believe the angels rejoice when a lost one comes home to God. Why can I not, just in the same way, understand that when I'm doing the right thing and I know it's the right thing and I persist in the right thing, God is sitting in heaven going, that's good. Well done. You did that one good. I don't think that's inconsistent. So I want you to pause today. And after you did something good, so I'll do this to Sharon. She said, will you give me a glass of water while you're up? I'm going to get her a glass of water. I'm going to sit down in my recliner and I'm going, did you hear it? And she's going to hear what? I'm going, God just said, well done. And then she's going to look at me like, shh, come on. Here's our training plan really quick. Know God. Really know him, not just about him. Embrace the self-discipline, both the physical and the mental. Imitate Christ, which is way harder than we realize. Set your mind on heaven and the true riches. Serve other people. Shine. Just be the best light you know how to be. Cultivate unity in your circle. And I look forward to hearing God say, well done, thou good and faithful servant. I really, really believe that really one of the key explanations of life is to understand it's all training. We're here to be trained so that he can give us the true riches when this life's over. And that's what we want to achieve. We're getting ready to sing, Is Thy Heart Right with God? If it is, you stay the course. You're doing exactly what you're supposed to. If it's not, it's time for a change. You can change publicly, privately, any way we can help you. Let us know.